Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll try.
All right,
I mean, we
we're
can
live,
wait till
huh?
we get a few viewers. Yeah. I mean, we
Well,
are
I mean-
live. But yeah, we're live.
So,
viewers.
What's up?
we got
What's
two.
up, guys?
How do you see that? What do I got to
I
do?
don't know. Maybe because I'm the
Well, live. It says in the top left corner of my screen that we're live. 20 seconds in.
It doesn't show you how many viewers, or just shows me.
Yeah, it says
No,
24,
viewers.
25, but I don't see how many viewers.
Oh,
Okay.
I got some. Oh, we got Casey already. RT, we got old Ted. I finally delivered that van, that RTD Ted, that 6 order he built. Delivered it to the customer today, and the customer was tickled pink, man.
Yeah, that
Nice,
looked really
nice.
cool. Looks super cool.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay.
What's up, guys? Okay. Yes.
So this week on the 4th episode of Quietly Loud, we're going to be talking to our main dude, Steve Barber of Shitting on Him. He's going to tell us every bit of every detail of his entire life story up until this very moment
And
here.
then we get to hear in
Right
detail
now.
how every single design they've ever come up with has been come up with.
Yes, every
Yes.
single one.
Yep. down to the thread count and why you decided it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All the hits and all the losses. And then we're also going to be talking about a couple of fail images. We'll go over that. Maybe we can get some answers from the guys making comments, watching the show, get some insight to what the hell happened there, right? And then we're going to talk about the build of the week, which I'm super excited about. It's the Sinister Car Audio Bloodbath Tahoe that I built with help from my technicians, Colt and Tyson and Anthony and the whole rest of the team at Gately Audio, as well as quite a bit of work by Brian Rogers, the owner of Sinister Car Audio and the Bloodbath Tahoe. Lots of B2 goodness in there. So anyway, let's start with just what's going on. What's going on lately? What do we got? Like, what are you up to, Drew? You just had a bunch of fun with the SQ stuff.
Yeah, I was at MTI, Mobile Toys Inc. out in College Station from basically Wednesday to Sunday. Well, Wednesday to Saturday. I left Sunday morning, but did a whole bunch of sound deadening treatment to my doors, a whole lot of it, and then did some additional tuning to the truck. And man, it got it sounding good. And I picked up my JL Max Tune thing right here. Can't see it, but it's back there.
Okay.
I'm gonna start learning how to tune some stuff.
I like you got those red lights going in there in the room. It sets the mood.
That's right. Well, whenever I started working from home years ago, I was like, I'm gonna make my house comfortable. So I did all the Philips Hue lights, and that's all it is.
And you set them to red all the time, so it makes you a little randy.
Nah, either it's white or blue. Brandy hates the color red, so I only do this for our stream.
Okay, so it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got? What's shaking? What's lately for you, Mr. Steve?
Since our last show, I mean, not anything crazy. Been just having some fun outside of car audio. Been playing some golf and
Nice.
and then been working on the Explorer basically nightly when it's not 1,000 degrees outside. And
Yeah, that thing's an easy bake oven. That thing's an easy bake oven when it's out in the sun, huh?
Oh yeah, you can't work on that thing outside in Vegas, not in the summer. You'll die. And it's probably, if the car was sitting outside in the middle of the day, yeah, it's probably 160 degrees in there. Not good. Kill you.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a sauna. Like if you were like, I'm going to go in there and work for 20 minutes and lose 19 pounds.
Yep.
Yes, I could use it for a weight loss program for sure. I might actually do that.
Speaking of heat, that was one thing I liked about, because I was like just above an hour north of Houston. It wasn't humid at all. It was hot, but it wasn't humid. I was a fan actually did something while I was working on my truck in the middle of the day. I was like, oh, this is lovely. Because down here it just doesn't help. It's just always hot. And then next weekend, I got another trip going on.
Okay.
Well, this weekend. This weekend, I'm going to Bixby, Oklahoma, about 20 minutes south of Tulsa for the advanced sound quality seminar taught by Mark Eldridge.
Man, that sounds awesome.
It is.
That sounds like an amazing amount of knowledge to gobble up real fast.
He does it twice a year, once or twice a year. There's only 16 seats available per class, and it's not cheap, but it's
what does it cost?
Say about $600 a seat.
Oh, that's not as bad as I was when you were
No,
like,
I
it's
mean,
not cheap. I
especially-
was like, oh, 2,500 sounds like
That's
a
what I was
lot.
thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
600. I'm in next time. I mean, obviously I can't do it this time, but maybe next time if I plan for it, I'll come and hang
I'll
out with
send
you.
you. He actually has one scheduled for the end of the year. I'll send
Okay.
it to you. The guy who I'm going with, who's been helping me with the sound quality, Jeffrey Hall. This is his 4th time going, so obviously there's some information to gather.
I'm sure of
He
it.
was on
Obviously.
Kicker, the Kicker on Mass Show too, right?
Yes, he
Didn't
was.
you
Yep,
give
that was
away a
him.
couple spots. Yeah, okay. I know you're
Yeah,
talking
and then I'll be going to Kicker the day. So Sunday night after the class, I'm going to Kicker just to hang out for the day Monday, and then come home. Since it's only like an hour apart, I figure I'm already up there. Might as well.
Nice.
Yeah, check in on a special
Yeah,
project.
and it'll be my. I think the last time I leave the house, basically until SEMA. The
Oh, good old
Nice.
SEMA.
whole good old SEMA.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
check out the Bronco, and see what's going on.
Yep.
So let's
Well,
bring
what
up
have you
these.
been doing, Bobby? No, we're not. We're not going to gloss over you.
Shit. Well,
Yeah, what
we
do you-
just today installed that all acrylic 6.8 box in the customer's truck, powered by a Salt 6K. Upgraded. We put in a Nav TV Zen module and a Salt 500.4, a bunch of Sky High premium Neo components, bunch of sound deadening material, and lithium battery. And the guys got it fired up today, and that thing's we're gonna need to replace that back power slider window because it is like violently rattling. But otherwise, it's pretty amazing, and we're having a lot of fun with it. A little bit of tuning needs to be done on it, obviously, but it was kind of cool to get that thing fired up today. Everything's working perfectly. Just a couple days on the install, the guys rip right through things pretty fast. So that's what's going on there. Made a bunch of really good progress on the Raiden F450, which will have its like secondary debut at Surf City in about 3 weeks. So have a bunch of cool stuff going on with that. We reinforced the floor, added a big brace. We were getting some really violent resonance in the floor of the truck. I was worried it was going to rip it. Actually, I was so sure it was going to rip it that midday on one of those days, I was like, we are definitely pulling this whole interior out of this thing and laminating plywood to the floor and adding a big ass brace in it. Yeah, it was. Yeah. There was a couple people that were in the back seat and they're like, "Oh my God, it's like hitting my feet. I feel like I have to lift my feet up." When
it's
I
like
played.
a Tahoe floor.
Yeah. So
can confirm.
Yeah.
Yep.
The worst.
Yeah, and it's a pretty super new truck. It's like a 2020, and I'm really not trying to start ripping metal like on the second day it plays. So we had to just go back in and do more to it. We got an all new box in that thing. Colt came in and was like, I know it's performing well and it's really, really beautiful, but to get subwoofers out of it is not happening. And so I was like, I guess I'll design and build a new one, and so we did it, and it's beautiful. It's almost exactly the same volumes, and it is the same port assembly. We kept that part intact.
Well, I mean, if it worked before, it'll work again.
Yeah, and
you said the subs are firing up, right?
Yeah, the subs face up. The ported chamber is on the low side of that, so the motors are in the ported chamber. The sealed side is so you have these acrylic panels that'll come off from the top, 2 of them, and you can get to each set of 6 subs.
Yeah.
So if you ever need to get a sub out, all you gotta do is pull a panel and you can get to any individual sub.
I'm wondering what the sound performance difference is going to be with them up and down versus sideways.
Yeah, a couple people were telling me that they were worried about some loading issues. I'm not normally super worried about loading issues like that. But I did damage a few subs, and I think that was more of me operating the truck than it was any kind of issue with the box.
Oh, when they were sideways?
Yeah, I was. Those B2 4500s make quite a bit of power. I'm pretty sure we were seeing upwards of 5K on the subs, and I started ripping surrounds apart and stuff like that. So we're
it's 12,
making some
right?
changes to the woofers. I'm like, we got to make special ones for him that'll handle 5K for this. So that's what's going on. But
it's 12s, right?
It is 12 KV audio relentless 12s. Yeah.
Are they all common chamber now? I How
The
do you have
sealed
it?
chamber is 6 and 6. So, and then there's a common chamber with all 12 for the ported.
Why didn't you just do a full common chamber for the sealed and just have like one big plexi window or something? Or
Well, because I couldn't get plexi that's 68 by 74.
okay, so just
Or I probably could, but it would have been extra expensive. And my machine isn't big enough to machine that to do all my drill holes and fanciness. So
And that sounds pretty large.
it's pretty big.
Yeah,
I had to buy
forget how big
two
that truck is.
4x8 sheets of 1.25 inch acrylic to make those top panels. I'm like,
I was actually thinking about y'all over the weekend. Our conversation about how most SQ vehicles I haven't heard aren't that loud.
did you hear some loud ones? Tell me you did.
I mean, mine's pretty loud. Mine's pretty ignorant for how loud it can get. And then like Jeffrey's is silly. It's two 13W7s on 3K for his rear substage. So I mean, they can get going.
Yeah.
But
Excellent.
so I was thinking next time that we're at a show together, I'm putting you both in it and letting her rip Tater Chip.
Yes, sir. Hey, I actually worked a little bit on your enclosure design for behind the seat of your truck with the 10-inch Sundown. What are they? The SD10s, the shallow mounts.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, it's super straightforward. Yeah, I mean the Sundowns are great. They look good. Their specifications are awesome, and I can get my hands on them really easy. So
that's a good part.
Yeah, and they go with Sundown is distributed by Sky High Car Audio, so they will pair together really easily.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they'll perform great.
So. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I do like 4. You got 4?
I have 5 of them here because I'm also going to design a 510 steel downfire truck box that goes with those for you SQ guys.
What? 510 steel?
Pinkies up. Hey, I'm down for whatever. Whatever fits, I'll do, and I'll just put the accompanying size amp on it.
Accompanying
size amp. And if it needs to be a 6K, then it needs to be a 6K.
Yep. Oh, so
dual 12 under seat box.
Yeah, I just shared it on Instagram 20 minutes ago.
Oh, that's what that notification was.
I think I told you about it, Drew, probably 2-3 months ago. We were on the phone. Customer reached out to me, and he's had us do a few things for him. And he's like, hey, I drive like 2 hours plus each way to work all by myself in my F450 every day, and I have to have this truck. And I have these 2 Rampage 12s, the B2 Rampage 12s sitting here, and I have this B2 7500. Could you possibly build me a box that goes under the seat? And I was like, wow, shit, man, I'd have to use like a 5-inch seat lift. I could do it. I'd have to double stack it.
No, yeah, I was pulling it up so I could see it.
And I got it up right now. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, look at the screen, Drew. It's on the screen.
Yeah, look at the screen. Look up.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, let's do it. He's like, the only people that are going to sit back there are like shorter than 5 feet tall. I'm like, you're good then, I guess, And so we built it, and I made that enormous Gately Shield placard for the front of it, and then we shaped around that. And
that looks great, dude.
Man, it looks super sexy. I wish I could hear it. It's got to be outrageous.
Yeah, it's got to be just.
It's almost silly. 4 cubic feet of internal volume after all displacement. It's tuned to like 32 hertz. I think it's like just the right amount of port area. It is spot on for those woofers with all the experience I have with them. I have a pretty reasonable amount of experience. I've been through at least a dozen of those things and multiple boxes, probably built 24 boxes for Rampage subs, and all of them with great results. So, man, I hope he sends us some really good videos of it real soon. I was like, send more pics and videos. It's like, it's pretty ridiculous. So anyway, and I did one very similar to that recently for 2 ZV610s using our 3 3/4 seat lift. That looks pretty similar to that one. So those things are a lot of fun. Those custom ones like that.
Craziness under these seats, man.
Dude, how short do you have to be to sit in that back seat now when you do a lift that big? I mean, because I almost did it to my truck in like 2 inches. It was like, you bet 5'10" or lower.
What truck did you have, though?
A Silverado 09, so maybe the newer ones have.
They have a little more room. Actually, what's crazy is the 2019 and ups I could fit 4/8 with 0 seat lift.
Yeah, so I was
They
like,
go
yeah,
right in.
they have like 10.5 or 11 inches up front
Yeah,
height.
they have
Just
quite a bit
stop.
of space there, and that box performs really well.
Nice.
So the Fords are the stock seat height in the Ford trucks. It's too low. Like it's uncomfortable for me. My feet are on the floor, my knees are up by my nipples, and I'm 5'5". So for me to be like, this seat is too low, this is stupid. And then I put the 2.5-inch seat lift on it in the Ford trucks, and it's like pretty cozy. If you don't have a sunroof in the Ford truck, even the 3 3/4 is very reasonable. 5
Because the
inches
headliner comes
is
down a ton for the sunroof.
5's a lot.
it's 2.5+ inches. So if you have, my truck, my F-150 has no sunroof. I have the 3 3/4 seat lift. My stepson, Nathan, he's like 6'1" now, and he sits in the back seat, and he's like pretty good. He's like, if I lean to the side, I can lean my head on the edge of the truck really easily, so it's almost like I can sleep better. He's a little optimistic about it, but it's pretty reasonable. And like my buddy Eric's truck, he does have the sunroof. He has the 2.5-inch seat lift. We wouldn't want to go taller, but my buddy Kyle, Kyle Cook, big heavy set dude that used to work for me. He's close to 6 feet tall, and he's 300 and something pound big man, and he sat super comfortably in the back, all the way back from Vegas. So he's good.
That ain't bad then.
I'm gonna order a couple beers real quick.
Beer assistant. I need to get a beer assistant. Ain't nobody here. Hey, made my dog bring to me.
Well, they're in the fridge over there, and it's cold. And I grabbed 2, and I'm almost done with the second one, so I got 2 more.
I got this here Red Bull.
Well, I got some
8 o'clock Red Bulls.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I stay up till 1 or 2 normally most nights, so it's whatever.
My wife Allie was like, "If you need a ride, call." I'm like, yes. I won't be
Well, here,
drinking and driving. I
some
definitely
videos
don't want people
and
drinking and
pics.
driving. So
I
yeah,
got
let's
some videos and pics of your stuff for your.
let's start with those.
Blood
Let's start with those fails. Let's do those really quick.
Okay, I gotta find those. Here's one.
So, Bobby, whenever I get proficient with this here tuning thingy, I'm gonna fly out and we're gonna tune some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got trained to tune DSPs by Aaron White of Audio Dynamics, and he is absolutely amazing. He's a brilliant man, and I learned so much about tuning from him. Not that I don't want to learn more from you and Jeff.
I mean, trust me,
and
I'm
Pete
learning
and Chris and all of it, man. I want to learn from everybody.
That's it. I want to learn everything.
Different ways. That's one thing for sure that
I think this thing would be good in your business just because it's faster.
Yeah. Oh well, I have a really good way of tuning. I tell my customers it's like you're playing a really difficult video game, and when you get done, your audio system sounds amazing.
Basically.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's like I was my stepson Nathan. He's like gamer, wild, all day video game player, and I'm like, I told him, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm setting up 2 computers, and one of them's like a badass gaming computer that I use for CAD design at home, my laptop. He's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm gonna play a video game. So anyway, that's the best way to tell people about tuning DSPs and make them into it. Like it's like playing a really difficult video game, and when you're done, your audio system sounds fun.
That's part of what this thing can do. It can make life so easy. And then you can see phase wrap. My mind still can't deal with what I'm looking at. So
I don't even know what phase wrap is.
Yeah, phase wrap sounds interesting.
Sounds good though.
So I'm pretty sure the person that built this vehicle here with this pluggy thing might know something of phase wrap. I have no idea. I actually took this photo. I was at a Walmart not far from the shop one day, and I got in my truck and I started it up and I was getting ready to drive away. And I remember I was in a pretty grumpy, stressed out, like kind of trying to hurry up, very anxious mood. And I was like looking, and it was like 2 rows of parking lot away from me. And I could see it between 2 rows of cars. And I was like, what?
There's no way I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, what? And I mean, you could see the little lightning bolts, and I'm like, I backed up, and I went
Oh,
driving.
wait, the
over
lightning
there.
bolts were on the car?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you added those.
No, those are
Those are
stickers.
It's
And
so
I
much
pulled up
worse.
and I stopped. I put my truck in park and I'm sitting there looking at it out the passenger window, and I rolled the window down and I was like, grabbed my phone and I took the picture and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to post this on Facebook. And I posted it on Facebook right then. I'm like, what the fuck? you know?
And
And,
then the owner met the comments, "Hey, bro, I'm working on it."
Did you
Dude,
look in the car at all? Did you see if there was a system in it?
it didn't look like there was any audio in it. Like I didn't get out of that truck, but like it didn't have like a fucking, like I don't know about you guys, but like any bass head at all in the Sacramento, California area, they have all of the stickers.
Oh, dude,
All the stickers. Maybe
all
this
of the
person's
stickers,
an
dude.
artist.
You're like, dude,
that's my.
You're
guess.
like, it's interesting that you have like, Kicker and Scar and American Bass and Gately Audio and shitting on them and Rockford, DC, and I'm like, do you have all of that product in there? And they're like,
hell yeah,
what?
bro.
No,
What
I
love audio.
I just put the stickers on my car. I'm like,
Okay,
all right,
I appreciate it. I sell stickers. So.
but
Appreciate
I
it,
mean, what do you guys think, Rhonda? What do you think that is for real? What could that possibly be used?
It's got to be a trunk pop mechanism, right?
No, I personally,
Like
think
you pull it and it releases the trunk latch.
No, why wouldn't it be one set of? Why would it be like a?
Why would it be cut in the trunk at all?
No, you guys got to think outside the box.
What
This
do you
happened. He had whatever happened to the car happened. He put something through it, and then he's an artist. He was probably getting like some steel pole to bring back to make some sort of art piece. Closed his trunk, pierced the motherfucker. I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do with this? I'm an artist. I'm going to make art out of it. I'm going to put some stupid ass wires in there and stickers. And then bam, you're in California. I mean, I think it leans even more that way because it's a California.
I mean, that
he's an artist.
I mean, make a little sense.
If there's no system,
I wish I would have taken more pictures of the car because there was nothing else about this Prius that was like
screaming
I'm an artist
system or something.
I have a system or I have anything. I was like
something. There's got to be a reason. You should have asked him. You should have left a note.
But yeah, I kind of like Steve's idea because I think it would be really funny because like somewhere this guy might go, oh, these guys talked about my shit for 10 minutes on this podcast because I accidentally punched a hole in the car and then I grabbed these funky old RCA cables out of my my spare wire bin and just hung them out the hole.
Yeah, watch it actually be someone like we know and they're super, super well known in car audio.
Well, that's why
it's an SQ world champion trick.
Oh, exactly.
There's this
Jeffrey, I know you're watching. Go and get the saw out.
Yeah. No, that ain't a saw. That you got to stab that with a digging like pick iron or some shit.
I love it so much.
I think Drew shared another fail image that I think will be a little bit of fun.
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did.
What you got?
I think that one was from me here. Where is it? Let's see. This one.
Yeah. I saw that one, I think, floating around.
Yeah, we posted it on our shitting on them Instagram.
That must have been where I saw it.
Like, perfect.
Oh, that's mint, dude.
Honestly, the one, okay, I see. He put heat shrink over the wire to make sure he knew which was which. Now I get it. It's not black.
Let me see if I can find that.
There was a period of time where you couldn't buy 4-gauge black wire easily. I think it was like the early 2000s to it just went when the car audio market was kind of at its most dwindling, weakest level. The manufacturers are just like, fuck it, we only make red wire. You just couldn't easily find black. And like we'd be like spiraling shit with black tape. I hated it. It drove me absolutely bonkers. Because somebody's bound to just be like red wire, and so anyway. But yeah,
I didn't see anything I sent. I must have. I don't know.
No, I thought you sent this one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So
whatever. It was the guy with the beard.
This obviously worked probably because of
the little bit sticking out.
I bet it didn't.
Yeah, right.
I bet it didn't work. No, if it did, no, I don't think it ever worked. I don't think it worked at all.
Well, look how small of an amp
because
it is. It's probably got like 2 10-amp fuses, so it doesn't need a whole lot of
those
loud.
are 40s.
Are they?
Yeah, they're
Oh,
orange.
Yeah, orange or 40s.
Okay.
Yep. So, but check it out.
yeah.
No, because
That's a
here's
lot
what
of
would have
amp,
happened if those connections would have been really poor. They would have made heat immediately, and it would have been a big charred, shitty-looking nightmare. Ask me how I know.
Don't talk about my
Man,
How do you know this, Bobby?
No,
You know.
I recently in my own truck, I have this really magical thing that happens that drives me bonkers. But my extremely expensive high-end aftermarket mounting kit in my F-150 has this really cool feature where if the car isn't like in the on position or anything else, it wants to leave all the little instrument lights of the air conditioner control on, and it'll drain my battery in a couple of days. And obviously I have a lithium battery in my truck because I got an 8K running my 4/8s under the back seat of my truck. And so if I leave my truck sitting for more than like 3 or 4 days, my battery will be dead. So if I know I'm going to leave my truck sitting, I got to go out, I got to flip the seat down, I got to pull the SMD thing off, and I got to pull the fuse out. And then I put it back in when I'm going to drive the truck. Well, I grabbed the wrench that I normally use. I grabbed the wrench that I normally use to tighten up the nuts on the Steve Mead block, and I put it in my back pocket, and I went over and I put the fuse in place, and I tightened it up by hand, and I grabbed the wrench, and I realized I grabbed the wrong size. And then I walked into the garage and I put the wrench away, and I got in my truck and I started it up and I drove to the shop. And I played my audio system super loud on the way, and I got this really odd smelling plasticky electrical hot smell. And I thought it was my woofers. And I was like, what the heck, man? And I'm like, well, they shouldn't be getting that hot that fast. And I'm like, maybe this song has a dirty ass signal. And I'm like changing shit around, and I'm like, and I keep them, then my amp cuts off, and I'm all, what is going on here? And I'm just abusing everything like a absolute moron. And then I get to the shop, and me and Colt are talking, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he goes over and looks at it, and Colt's like, oh, dude, I screwed up. I left this loose, and it's melting. And I'm, oh, no, that was me. He's like, no, I think it was me. Well, no, I'm sure it was me. We have this argument about who fucked it up. And so then we like cleaned it up a little bit and tightened it up. And then it started happening again, because once it had done it once, the lug connection had gotten hot, and then at the fuse. And so all of those connections were then ruined. And I ruined my 10-spot Steve Mead fuse, like 2XL thing at that one spot. So I put a new lug on, and I got a new fuse, and I scooted it over one because I had one to spare. And so yeah, that just happened recently. That's my current fail that I just did. It was
That's not too bad.
I mean, why does it ruin the connection if it what happens?
Once it starts making heat, it makes carbon all over the wire, and it's just a really bad connection. Once the wire gets real hot, it's no longer a good wire anymore.
So is it the wire or is it the block? Did you have
the connection point, the wire, everything around it? If any of it gets hot, it's all going to get hot.
So the blocks are just no good because they got hot, or could you just?
Yeah.
Well, what happens is it starts getting all melty, and then you have the plastic melts, and then it's plastic in the way, and then you don't get a solid connection. Okay. Just that one spot on my 10 spot is
still that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you
gotta
learn the hard way sometimes.
You know a guy.
I know a guy I can get a really good deal on a new one. And what I mean by
I wish I knew a guy. Good Lord.
Dealer cost.
Well, understandable. Yeah.
What radio are y'all running? Just curious.
What do I have? I have a Stinger Hyphen in my F-150.
Oh, you like it?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you tried that?
I haven't. It wasn't the high 10 yet. I had the same JVC in the Duramax for like 4 years, and I was at MTI, and Jeffrey convinced me to put that new one of the new reference Exelons in there. I like it. It's pretty nice.
So I commented on that post, and I asked if you have a really good high-end DSP, why does the source unit even matter? To be honest, like, isn't it just kind of giving it a signal that the DSP is doing all the processing?
Kind of, yeah, but you got to have good signal in. Poop in, you're still gonna get poop out.
Really?
because like the head unit doesn't do any processing. We have that totally turned off, so it's just the head unit is basically a DAC, digital analog converter. So the better your DAC is, the better your sound's going to be in the end.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and it has a smartphone style touchscreen, so it looks really pretty.
I have some super duper bad news.
What's that?
What?
I asked my
The
man
beers?
Colt to bring me 2 beers, and he didn't bring me 2 beers, and he left.
Wow, that sounds like a write up.
Honestly,
like
on the Explorer,
action.
like, I haven't decided on head unit. And I don't know if I was gonna just skip it completely and just go iPad.
No, yeah, I mean in the Explorer,
DSP.
dude, I'd skip it. I wouldn't even bother with it.
Well, I care about the way it sounds, obviously, but
I know that, but to hear the difference between like a Kenwood and a JVC or a Kenwood reference, it has to be you have to be silent in the vehicle, super high resolution stereo, like listening to the difference.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was
That's
just
why the
gonna
Yeah,
Tahoe
go-
like you
has
can't even have the engine running. Like,
no, yeah,
there's
no, I have
no.
to turn my
yeah,
truck off to demo it because it idles too rough.
right.
No, the Tahoe still has like a 2400 Pioneer and a Dayton DSP, and it's good to go.
Gotcha.
So
Well, you want to talk about the bloodbath a little
let's
bit?
talk
Bobby?
about the bloodbath a little bit. I'll start telling the story. You start digging up pictures. So
Okay.
Brian Rogers reached out to me on I think it was Christmas Eve, in the evening on Christmas Eve. Must have been 2019, and him and I worked out this deal, and I was going to build a no wall box for 415s, and we
Sir,
wanted
that
it
is
to
not a
be-
no wall box.
no, and it was going to be the craziest no wall box that I've ever built, probably, and it was going to be very similar to the no wall box I built for Amanda Rabbie, but it was going to be done with layers of the Baltic birch and layers of acrylic, and it was going to be all done in the bloodbath red, and it was a very expensive box that we had worked out, and so like we're talking, and it's like late, it's freaking 2 a.m. and I'm in Portland, and I can't really sleep in other people's house. I'm in my brother-in-law's house, and my brother-in-law's cat loves me. So his cat's crawling around at my feet and purring, and I'm petting this cat, and I'm texting back and forth with my buddy Brian, and we work out the deal, and he pays me. It's like the middle of the night, and he pays me for this crazy box. It was a very expensive box. Would have been the most expensive box I'd ever built. And then, a week or so later, he says, let's do my doors. And I'm like, okay, let's do the doors, and we were going to just do the front doors. And then he's like, let's do all 4 doors. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm like, cool. I'm like, maybe you should send me the truck then. That would be the best thing. I could build the doors on the truck. Like, it makes way more sense if I have the truck to build the doors, because I don't have another one of these trucks to work on easily. He's like, no problem, I'll ship you the truck. And so he sent me a little bit more money. He started sending me all the gear, put it all on a pallet. A bunch of audio product comes in a pallet. It's like 4.5, 5 feet tall. And that's really how high 4.5, 5 feet tall comes to me. No, anyway. So the truck arrives to me the day that COVID lockdown starts. And we talk a few days later, and we're talking about the build, and he's like, maybe we should do a C-pillar wall instead. Let's just do 415s and a C-pillar wall, and that'll be awesome. And let's do that. And we like, I'm like, I'll sit down and I'll figure out what more it should cost, and we'll figure out everything else. And he's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, right on. I'll talk to you later on tonight. He calls me an hour later, and he's like, nah, let's go ahead and just do all the way. B-pillar wall. I'll get at least 2 more subs. If you think it should be 8, we could do 8. We could do 6. But I wanted to dig lows like the Green Monster. I want, let's do this. He's like, names off what he wants this thing to do. And he kind of described the rear doors to me. He's like, I would love it if they were kind of stacked and lights everywhere. And I was like, man, everything will be stack fab with lights and bloodbath red. And man, it was a hell of a time. The the process of building this thing, I got my own CNC machine a couple months later, and so this thing right after doing the Sky High Skyline, the GTR, I dove into this thing, and it was like worth throwing $1,000 sheets of acrylic on the CNC machine, and I'm like, I hope I don't ruin this. It's like, oh look, it's working. Yeah, I didn't ruin that. And and me and Colt were just like figuring stuff out. The whole back section, there is like 30 some odd inches of stack fab shell of the whole box. So the roof is laminated 2 1/4 inches thick plywood. So we laminated ply to the roof, and then another layer, and then another layer, and it's shaped to the roof. So the actual roof of the truck, 2 inches thick ply, and the metal is part of the box. And then we did the same on the floor, 1.5 inch thick ply laminated to the floor, and then it's like stair stepped down into like the seat and the footwell area right behind the B pillar. And man, there's a lot going on there. It's and we were like, every part we'd make, we'd design the next part. Okay, cool. And then we do this, and then then every once in a while I'd be like, oh, we got to back up and figure that out, because I wasn't designing in 3D software at that point. I was designing in my head and figuring things out, and this should be shaped like this, and that should be shaped like that. And we put that whole entire shell together dry, no adhesives, with minimal screws. To make sure it was all going to go together correctly. And then we pulled it all out and did all the stain and did that whole process, and then put that whole thing together with all the adhesive. And we got most of the way into that part of it. And then I couldn't sleep one night, and I figured out that baffle assembly should be, staggered, stair-stepped, stack fab with acrylic. And I think I posted a couple of really good pictures.
I'm looking for
my
pictures, Bobby, but honestly, I have a bunch of videos. I don't have any. I can't seem to find any pictures. I know you have tons of them, but
no.
I'm scrolling through your Facebook trying to find some install.
Don't do Facebook. Do Instagram. Do Instagram if you're going to scroll
through
somewhere.
Gately Audio or through.
Both of them are good. I think mine is probably going to be where you're going to see some build pictures, because we weren't as active with the Gately Audio Instagram back when we actually built the bloodbath. So
okay, all right. I mean, we could watch a video or two if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, if people want to see it in person, it's probably going to be at the Showdown or at SEMA, more than likely.
Yep. Okay, we got a couple of upgrades going on. Actually, Brian has quite a bit of it apart right now. He's removing all of the tan interior components and making them all black. And then we have a few different things, some upgrades to output, going bigger power and making a few changes that'll be pretty interesting for that build.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, shit. I'll let's see. Which you want me to do? One of the girl hair trick videos?
Sure. Why not? Everybody loves those ones.
All right. Let me find one of those, and then we could. Let's see. I guess I'm still sharing. Share something else. Okay. Let's go with this one. Can you see the girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I can figure out which one it is.
This one was from SEMA. This girl had a great reaction to the truck. A lot of these people at SEMA that were getting some demos from us there had never experienced anything like this at all. So they were like, I can't even believe this is real. That's what made that really fun.
Yeah, that was super fun. I think it was Monday. I don't even think the show had opened yet, and there were some ladies walking around who were looking at the van. I'm like, you want to hear it?
Yeah, that's one thing it's hard to convey to our community of what SEMA is about, because it's not popular in the car audio. They don't know what it is. But being from Vegas,
which is weird.
Well, you got to be a car. I guess you have to be more into cars than just
not just
audio.
car audio, to be into cars themselves.
Right. And being that I grew up in Vegas, SEMA's always been just a huge, just like CES was, but CES has died down so much. SEMA's kind of taken over. And to get a car into SEMA, like all you guys got in last year it seemed really easy because whatever. But normally to get your car into SEMA,
Oh,
it's like getting not quite like a Riddler, like to get into that like type of standings or anything like that, but it's a huge honor basically to get invited to have your car at SEMA. And like what Bobby was saying, dude, these people have never seen anything like it. And to have the builds we had out there it's pretty insane. And this year is going to be even crazier because the same builds plus the DD tank and the B2 bourbon. And I think there's going to be a couple other insane ones as well. So it should be gnarly this year.
I'm kind of wondering how SEMA's going to be since Ford and Chevy pulled out, but Volkswagen is doing it for the first time ever. Yeah, Chevy and Ford said they weren't doing SEMA like 6 months ago or something. But Volkswagen is for the first time ever. And Volkswagen Group could buy GM and Ford and turn them off.
We have a fridge full of beer over there.
Right,
are they not? Oh, really?
Over here.
Okay, check it out. My wife saw me say that Colt didn't bring me beers, so she went and got me these. And she got me a water too.
What a good water.
Yeah, I guess so. And then have Nate come back with Nate so they drive the truck. Okay.
This is at SEMA too?
Yes, it is. Yep. Apparently, my wife wants me to be drunk.
Can you guys hear the music as well?
I don't
no.
hear it.
I don't hear shit. How about people watching?
Oh, well, that stinks. Well, I can hear it.
Sucks for y'all. I can hear it.
You can't hear it either, Drew?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I mean, you
get that song with the violins.
You all know what it sounds like. It sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
So Brian, I was on the phone with Brian that owns the Brian Rogers Sinister Car Audio earlier today, and he was telling me he got invited to bring the Bloodbath out to this like lowrider show, and they were like, just to have something else there that's just kind of different. Well, they had a stage and they had people performing, and they were not very close to where Byron was. Brian, I keep saying Byron. Byron's my man. He's watching. We're going to be doing a build for him called the Soulgasm. Here we got.
Okay, you can hear it now?
Yeah, we can hear it now.
Okay.
Send it.
Okay.
Vision of the neighbors.
Thanks, Scott.
The fruit of my labor. It's DJ
On the fly. Engineering for me. Yeah, I can't wait.
It's pretty cool with the headphones on. I mean, it's a lot more realistic, huh?
Right. Heck yeah.
So Brian had the Bloodbath out at this lowrider show, and they had a stage, and they had like kind of live bands performing, and they went over to him and asked him to shut that thing down for a little while. They were like, "You're kind of drowning out the stage," and they're like we really appreciate this thing and it's amazing, but like you gotta have to. And I was talking to him. I was like, "Dude, there's the switch. It shuts down the stunt doors. It turns out the lights too, but just that's how you know that the stunt doors are on is that the lights are on." And he's like, "Yeah, no. If I'm gonna play it, you're gonna get it all. Like you get all or you get nothing." And I'm like,
fair enough.
I feel you. It's like there wasn't a version of it that I played it. So anyway.
Sounds like a true bass head.
Anybody have any questions about the Bloodbath? I know we got a handful of people watching that might have a couple questions for us before we move on to our man Steve.
Why is it so pretty?
I mean, we tried really hard. There are definitely some aesthetic parts of it that I had to make some compromises to make that thing be strong enough to stay together. I really never want that thing to ever be like, "Oh man, my box is broken, my shell is fractured," failures of that nature are like huge setbacks, and they're extremely challenging to repair. You know, I'm sure you've seen it where the guys are like, yeah, to fix that broken part of my box, I had to have this 1/4-inch plate steel fabricated, and I had to put all these bolts through, and I had to put this piece from the other side, and I had to pray to Satan or somebody to make this thing stay together. And I'm always watching that spot so to make sure that it's not going to break. And I compromised the internal volume of part of that chamber, and I had to, you know, so yeah, in the process of building it, we did our best to make it really beautiful. I really wanted it to be held together with jizz. No, I really wanted it to be as beautiful as possible, but not have something that's going to have any kind of failure. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Lots of lights that you don't actually see the light itself unless it's at least buried behind some acrylic. You're like, well, I know the light's there, but it's in a layer of acrylic. So yeah.
Yeah, and the way you bonded them to the doors is really cool too. It's like I don't know if it's bed liner or.
Yeah, we just kind of like mixed up a thin batch of bed liner. I actually think, like, you know, some of our body filler stuff had a little bit of shrink back, and we had like a little bit of fractures over time. But thankfully, Brian is super good with that stuff, and he's able to kind of touch that up a bit to improve the aesthetic of some of that stuff around the A pillars and the rear doors. So
nice.
Good stuff.
The rear and the front doors are actually sealed enclosures for all those drivers, including the A pillars. Actually, they are actually chambers.
I was talking about redoing the Tahoe doors over the weekend and saying how I want you to build them, figure out the enclosure thing with whatever speakers have decided to do.
What we should do with your front doors is put like a 6.5 and like an 8-inch, and the 8-inch be in a T line, so it is a full range and a sub, and then your SQ guys can, I don't know, get inside of there and make out or whatever they do when they're really excited. Look, they're making out. That means he wins. He's the champion.
Yeah. That's why they put the shields up on the window.
Oh, is that why they put the shields on when they're
That's
doing
exactly why.
So there's get any jizz
on the out.
Make out session points.
No, I was talking about the Tahoe, but you know.
I'm sorry,
really
SQ guys. This
tongue,
thought it'd be funny.
Really high on the tongue.
Yeah, I was thinking like 4 Vex 10s. That's what I was thinking.
What?
4 Vex 10s, the Sundown Vex, the big ones.
The EX?
Oh, in the Tahoe, not in the other truck.
No, the other truck's doors will stay in stock for a while.
I see. Why? Because if you change them, it changes the class you're in?
No, I'm already in the highest class. I just don't feel like doing door panels on that truck yet.
I really want something to build like a really beautiful, badass, like T-line SQ door panel situation that, you know, it is the subs. I don't know if like that's still a thing. I've seen SQ guys years ago using really bitchin' T-lines to get really smooth response, but
maybe. We'll have to consult with my expert.
Yes, consult the experts, and they'll be like, "That guy's full of shit," and I'll be like, "I kind of am, I guess."
What in the 80s.
Lord knows I'm not.
In the fucking 80s they did shit like that. I'm like, "Oh, fuck you! I'm born in the
damn, bro, shit, okay, ow." No, I just figured 4 Vex 10s in like a sealed enclosure with like your beautiful woodwork on the front. Man, that'd be.
I think I got Byron chiming in with the SQ-gasm, which would be his Tundra. So there's the answer. There's the truck that gets the SQ doors.
Squagasm.
Squawk. I would say SQ-gasm, but squagasm is kind of weird. You know, it was really funny. It was Byron was at the shop, and we were getting ready to go to the Sky High Barbecue, and some guys like made my shop a meeting spot. It was like Jose Ramos and Tyler Louderback or a bunch of these Northern California car audio heroes, and they showed up, and they're chatting and they're hanging out, and one of them's talking to Byron, and they're all, "Hey, are you Soulgasm?" Byron's like, "Yeah, that's my name's Byron. It's kind of weird." So Anyway, let's
funny.
move on. Let's talk about Steve Barber.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
All right, Steve.
wanna
So what got you into car audio? What was the first car audio system that you ever heard that made you be like, dude, this is something I need to have?
Okay. So it goes way back, 1988, I'd say. My aunt met a guy named Monty, who's now my uncle. It's been my uncle for 40 years now, 30
Cool.
something years. And he had a little Nissan pickup truck that was slammed, back in the 80s. It was kind of the thing to do, and a full Fosgate system. And back then it was Fosgate or Kicker, basically. And had all the goods, the punch, whatever's, all the punch stuff. And it's the first system I ever heard. And I know I was young. I was only 7, 8 years old, but that literally got me just thinking about speakers all the time. And after, it wasn't after, it was every time I saw my uncle, it was, let's go for a ride and let me hear your system. And then it turned into pulling my dad's speaker cabinets at home apart, finding a construction bucket, and I think it's a 12. A 12 fits perfectly in a bucket. So like my first experience with building an enclosure was a 5-gallon bucket with a 12 out of my dad's home speaker cabinet.
I'm sure he was super stoked about that.
Well, I think it was one that was sitting in the garage. I don't think it was
okay.
one of the good ones, but yeah. And I just started by doing crap in my room. I had my uncle who had the truck gave me a Marantz home audio receiver. So I had that in my room with just a bunch of random crap. I even had like speakers that weren't in enclosures that were just, who knows what my ohm load was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was back then. I was like 12 years old, just hooking crap up to this receiver and as well as that 12-inch construction bucket with the sub in it. And that was my first taste of like real bass that was mine. Did stuff like cutting holes in it and found out that it was louder when it had a hole in it. Didn't know that because it was ported. But all these things, and just doing that over the next few years. And my sister was about 3 years older than me. So when she turned 16 and got a car, the first thing I wanted to do was put a system in it.
Nice.
Of course.
Yeah. So about 13 years old was the first system I ever installed. And it wasn't installing a system. It was literally taking the wires from the back speakers on the deck and hooking them up to one of my dad's old speaker cabinets and just throwing it in the back of her car. Literally, that was our first car audio system. No amplifier, nothing. Just a house speaker in the trunk.
Yeah.
So
I did the same thing.
I'm sure all of us have done stupid shit like that. So.
I would go and take my dad's our home audio system to speaker cabinets. They were like heavier than I should be carrying by myself, and put them in the back of my car. I remember me and George sitting, my buddy George Henry, him and I sitting there waiting. We're like watching MTV, waiting for my dad to go to bed so we could throw the speakers in the back of the car and go cruising El Camino. I remember we did it a couple times, and the one time I wired one of them out of phase is when he was like, "Why does my speaker sound shit?" I'm all, "Oh, I must have hooked him." He's like, "Why was that?" And I was like, "Oh, why is the corner right here screwed up?" I'm all, I put him in my car. He was like, "I knew you were doing that shit." I'm like, eh. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Like I said, most of us started out doing stupid shit and just kind of learning on the fly. So yeah, that was my first car audio experience. I guess that kind of got me into it. And there's been many systems along the way.
Oh yeah, there's always more systems that we can count.
Yeah. Yep. I think my actual first system. Let me think here.
So like your first successful system, right?
First system with like an amplifier, a head unit, what you can call an actual system. It was, those boxes you used to be able to buy. It was made by JBL, plexiglass in the middle, 2 ports on the outside.
And it was a bandpass?
It's bandpass.
I don't think JBL made those.
Oh, they
Oh,
definitely did. 'Cause
dual.
I had
It was like
well,
JBC.
no, well, okay, I had JBL speakers in one.
Okay.
Okay,
Maybe
this is
they
good.
did, and maybe JBC and Dual and shit all copied that. Okay.
Dude, in the early '90s, they all did that. That thing with that, those were that's what
Oh,
everybody did, pretty much.
shit. Don't like.
Yeah.
I was about that life, man.
I mean, you need to build one, honestly. If you build a badass one that actually
Build it like
performs,
actually make it look just like that, except for all
just
the
like it, but
parameters are
performs.
just right.
Make
Oh,
it actually sound
and
good.
splatter paint, all that '80s vibe. Oh, it'd be awesome. Dude.
People will buy the shit out of it. We're gonna do it. I'll do it.
100%. I guarantee they
It'll
will.
be the shitting on them edition Gately
Retro.
Audio
It's
designed
called the
by
Retro Band
Bassaholic. Badass.
Oh, yeah.
They fuck around. We're gonna do it. Maybe we'll even stick some. Maybe what should we put? Two eights.
Gately subs,
Some
obviously.
dual 8s in there.
Two Gately 8s in it. So it's kind of little and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That would be dope.
We'll take it back as classic as possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that audio system in? What
It
subs, what
was
amp?
in. I'm sad to say, my first car was a hand-me-down from my sister. It was in a Kia Sportage. So I drove a Kia Sportage for a year, and I had that. It was 212 span pass, and it was powered by not Audiotistics. What the fuck is the name of the
Autotech?
No. God, it's such a crappy brand now. All the plexiglass stuff, but back in the day it was decent. But whatever. That was my first system.
Jensen?
No, they made those Fahrenheit amps. Does that sound familiar?
Fahrenheit. I remember that. I thought that was the name of the brand.
Nope, that was one of their series. God,
Fahrenheit might have been like one of the was the auction brand version of that shit or something probably.
Maybe. Let me see. I know I can find it, but yeah, that was it. And then I heard a couple real systems that just changed my eyes completely of what a real system is.
What was the first like? I mean, obviously your uncle's system was for real. When you were like he had all the punch stuff. If you was the 80s and you had punch, you had as good as you could get. Power came in the 90s.
Yeah,
and
it was the best. His system
was the best you could get. Yeah.
But it wasn't loud. I mean, it was loud for then, but it's not like
super loud for then, right?
Yeah. But even fast forward like 10 years when I was starting to really get into it and driving and stuff, it was way beyond that. Like I used to go to these competitions at a place called Audio Excellence. The last Friday of every month, they'd have a competition. And this was in 98-ish. So car audio was kind of heyday. I mean, it was big.
Yeah, it was going big.
And these were just local shows getting hundreds of people every week or once a week or once a month. And I had probably 100. I'd say 100 or more once a month. Like in 98, dude, everybody had a system. Every 16 to 25-year-old had a system in their car. So it was a thing. And so yeah, people would always come out. It was fun. It was a barbecues, hang out. And then you also got to get on the meter. First time I did DB drag, any of that stuff. I had 3 JL 12W3s on 2 Fosgate Punch 1500s back then. It was okay loud. I didn't really know a whole lot about ported enclosures or anything. I went off of JL's specs for a sealed enclosure, so that's what I was running. But I remember this little Suzuki Sidekick pulls into the lanes, and it came on a trailer, and it had 2 digital design 18s, and then it had they weren't 18s, but they looked like 18s. They were painted on the wall. It was just a 2-sub setup, and then a company called Harrison Labs, which probably nobody really even knows about anymore. Bobby, you might remember them. They had the.
You know what? I think John Nolte has named that to me, but I don't have any experience with it. But if John Nolte is saying good things, then that means a lot to me because that's like the smartest dude I know.
Well, the guy, I think his name's Dan Harrison. He is like one of the first originators of the Class D technology in car audio amps. And he made an amp back in the day called the Drag Queen, which was a cheater amp that had a bunch of amps or batteries built into it. And it was rated like 25 watts, whatever. They did crazy power. But this little Sidekick had those amps, not that particular amp, but Harrison Labs amps in it.
Oh, those are the amps that got banned.
Yeah, they got banned. The big ones did. But this was a few years later when he moved on from that and was just making smaller amps. Anyways, this Suzuki comes in the lanes and just demolishes everybody by like 15 dB. It wasn't even close. And the next
so
day,
what kind of numbers was he putting up? And this is old meter, right? So everything's
this
weird.
is old, dude. I can't even remember, but I know it was 160 something. And this is when everybody else was doing like high 40s, maybe. And the next day, I went on Digital Design's website. I ordered 215s, and I went on Harrison Labs website. I ordered a 1600 watt amp, and within 2-3 weeks, I got to building. Digital Designs used to have specs for
They still do.
recommended enclosures.
They still do.
They still do.
They still have
Okay.
that chart. It's like still
Okay.
exact same chart.
Okay.
Like literally has never changed
Exactly
at all.
the same. So yeah, I built a box, and that's what I slapped for a while. That thing was really rowdy, and yeah, that was my first, big system back in the day. The first time I heard anything crazy loud. Yeah, back in the early 90s, late 90s.
So let's yes, please
Get some
lock up.
beers?
Yep. Let's talk about you starting your business with Hammy. Let's talk about shitting on him a little bit. What got you there? Maybe even tell us a little bit about your golf caddy stuff a little bit. I want to learn a little more about that.
Okay. Yeah, I have two passions. It's car audio and golf. Those are pretty much the two things I do the most. Golf took a backseat for quite a while here the last 3-4 years as I focused on building the business and traveling and everything else. But yeah, I caddied for 17 years. I was a professional caddy. I caddied for people like Donald Trump, John Elway, Shannon Sharp. I had quite a few of Justin Timberlake, a lot of famous people.
That's cool.
Really high end. It was cool, and I still do it to this day occasionally because it's a great job. Get to be outside, meet new people all the time, and hear and be a part of some crazy stories out there. I've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars won and lost on the golf course. I've seen naked people, men, women, all the drugs you could imagine. I mean, Vegas high-end golf course, people are here to party, so I've gotten hammered out there. It was a really fun thing to do while raising my family, to be honest. Gave me a lot of freedom as far as time goes and all that stuff. But yeah, golf. I'm a good golfer. It's kind of always have been. I don't know.
What's your handicap?
Right now, it's like a 3.5-ish, which is not good. It's always been a 0 or better. But those 3 or 4 years I took off building shitting on them and focusing on this other stuff, like really took away a lot of my skills. But I'm getting them back. I started playing a lot more in the last 6 months or so. But
yeah, well, that's good to hear. Yeah. I'm glad you're pushing back at that a little bit. You got to take a break from the career to have the fun, right? Even though that used to be your career and this used to be your fun, but now they made a switch, and in the middle of that, so
I lost one for the other, and then car audio. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I still love it. It is part of my business. It's obviously not like what I do compared to what you guys do in car audio. You guys are way more in like car audio.
We do very different things. I mean, as close as what Drew and I do, we're still very different. I mean, he's designing for people daily, and he does some build stuff, and I do design stuff for the people that are having me build for them, but I won't hand anybody a design. I try so hard to stay away from it because I'm terrified of it. But
this is what I'm saying is like,
so we're all like, it's all very different between the three of us. There's so many different facets of the car audio industry that kind of interweave, but you're in there, man. It doesn't feel like you're that different than to me.
No, yeah. I'm in there as well as with other things too. I mean, I am a partial owner of JY Power, and I build subs for Sundown through JY. So I'm definitely in the industry in other ways, as well as obviously the show. Honestly, show promoting probably was really overseas or started before anything besides just being in car audio. Like the Showdown, which was originally just like the Baseheads meet, was started 10 years ago. So I've been doing car audio promotion, show promotion for quite some time now. And yeah, that's a big part of what I do. Like putting on the showdown, it's 2 days, but it literally is 6, 7, 8 months of work.
Tons of work.
And I need everybody to be involved to make it a huge show, to keep it growing and so on. Yeah.
So what other profession other than what you're doing now would you like to have tried? What else, like maybe something, like what else would you be doing?
Wow. I think honestly, I mean, can I stay with cars? Because
yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want. Like, I mean,
okay. I mean, audio engineering would have been cool to get into, but
Yeah.
just engineering, like design and car design engineering stuff. I think I think part of the problem is when you're a young kid in high school, you have this thought, at least I did, in your mind that there's really only like 10, 15 careers out there. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, or this, and this. You don't think about all these other possibilities until you have experience through your life and you realize, like, dude, there's a guy that does that for a living, there's a guy that does that does this. And then now you're like, well, shit, man, if I would have known when I was 16 or 17 that I could have even done that, I would have pursued those things. But
for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I watched read something about some lady who has a business in California picking up dog poop out of people's yards.
Oh, there's people like that all over the place.
Makes all kind of money.
Dude, there's people like, if it was
something. So that's what you would do, Drew. If you were doing this, you would pick up dog shit.
Not too right. I don't want to bend over that far.
No, you charge the people $2 a poop, and then you pay someone $1 a poop to pick it up, and you just book the appointments.
There you go. You just profit.
That's what you do, right, Bobby?
See, that works out until it's like a Great Pyrenees poop, and it's like a mountain.
No, you charge them $2 to pick up each poo. You fling each poo into the neighbor's yard that also has a dog, and then you charge him $2 to pick up.
And then you just keep flinging, and eventually the last neighbor's got just a yard of poop.
So every time that dog shits, you're just exponential. Man, we're on to something.
That's it. And then eventually you'll get to the neighbor who doesn't want to pay you, and then they just get a yard full of poop.
All poop, all day. So,
straight pooping on them.
What's your biggest fail, Steve? Your biggest fail, and how did you overcome it?
Like ever in life?
Sure.
Or just in car audio?
Take it how you want it. Run with it. It could be a car audio. It could be a today. It could be your whole ass life if you want, man. I'm good with whatever version you want to tell us a story. I guarantee the first one that popped into your mind is going to be entertaining for all of us. I'm like waving around.
Nothing popped in my mind. I don't want to sound like an asshole. But
no, I don't want you to sound like an asshole either. But yeah.
No, I'm saying nothing has popped in my mind. I haven't built enough car audio stuff like to have fails, I guess. I have one car audio fail that I built for a buddy.
Yeah, well, you go. Talk to me.
It was so I sold when I got back in the car audio after. I guess I didn't really touch on this. So when I had my daughter in 2005, I kind of just got out of everything. I just went to work. And then 2011, I bought my truck and I put a system in it. A few years later, I switched that system out and I had these subs for sale. So I sold my buddy the subs. They were two Sundown SAV8 2s, SA8 B2s. And I built a fourth order for his Cadillac. And the thing just sucked, dude. It would play like 52 hertz, and that's it. And I had no idea why. I mean, I built it what I thought was right, and obviously it was not right. So yeah, that's pretty much the only fail car audio-wise. I've had life fails, I guess. I mean,
everyone has.
Everybody has. I mean, but nothing crazy or nothing I regret. I mean,
yeah,
I haven't. Yeah, things have been working out okay for me so far. Knock on wood.
All right. So when you jumped into the car audio industry, like when you started promoting shows, when you started working with shitting on them, what was your biggest misconception you had? Like, what is the most like ridiculous thing you like said to yourself, thought to yourself that was like delusional? What do you got?
As far as what, like the business goes, or
yeah. So here's the thing. I have this thing. This is where this comes from. This is why I ask you.
Yeah,
this
give
question.
Me an example.
Is I when I thought about it and I was like, I'm going to make my own business. I'm going to do this because I had worked in a corporate environment and I had a really good job and I was getting paid pretty damn well for as young as I was, and I was appreciated. And then I moved on and I went to a small company and I was working with this company, Boss Wakeboard Towers, and the owner, the guy Rio, was brilliant and he was fun. And but man, he was difficult. And I would be like, I'm gonna start my own business. That way I don't have to put up with anybody else's shit. And that was the most delusional thing I've ever said in my entire life. I was like, and then it was, as years went by, and it wasn't many, it was just a few. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
you don't have to put up
That
with
was delusional.
anybody else's shit. You have to listen. You have to put up with everybody else's shit. I mean, everybody's, like your employees, your customers, your vendors. Like I've had a grown man, like in the last like 2 years, a grown man that was my sales rep for a company that would provide us product, standing in my parking lot, bawling his eyes out about what he had going on with family issues. And I was like, shit, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
So
what you
anyway,
get.
that's what I'm
Alluding
that's what
to.
I'm
Yeah.
that's where I'm leading. This is why this question exists for you on my
guess-
just a few questions I have for you.
I guess my the only delusion of grandeur I had, which I guess it still could happen, not giving up on it, is
Okay.
what I did buy into shitting on him. I just figured like we would have some celebrity or something of some sort pick it up and we would have some viral moments and just go, you know. But that has not happened yet.
Maybe it's you.
maybe it's
Maybe
I'm
it's
the
us.
party
Maybe it's us
maybe
three
it's us.
right here.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe. Yeah. But talking about shitting on him, how I got involved with that, I didn't really touch on that.
Oh yeah. Talk to me.
So let's see, 2016 was my first slam.
We'll be
I was
right
in
back.
Slamology with JY Power and Full Throttle. Full Throttle was just starting to get into the car audio mix. So it was probably one of the hottest years ever. That was the year when Philip turned into a lobster. And directly across from us was shitting on him. I think it was Hammy's first year having a booth there. And first time I really had any knowledge of it, really. But dude, it was just nonstop. Like I saw how many people were going to the shit on a booth, and even back then, you still saw it on a lot of cars. So yeah, this shit's cool, you know. And I just bought some gear, and Hammy made a post probably like 6 months later, looking for an investor.
You were like,
I was like, okay. I mean, I want to get involved with something that's in car audio, and I like shitting on them. So I messaged Hammy, and we made a deal. I bought half the business. And coming from kind of a business background, I've owned a few different businesses before this. I kind of took over the business side, the marketing side, and I knew a lot more of the sourcing and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
basically just took that over and ran it more like a business versus selling out of the trunk of the car. I mean, nothing against Hammy. He built it from 2010 up until that point, doing it that way.
So Hammy started shitting on him originally?
Hammy started originally in 2010.
Do you know how he came up with the name?
I actually don't know exactly how the name. I think he told me, and I don't remember. But I remember it wasn't in car audio at all. It started in drift. This is when he lived in. Pretty sure it's when he lived up in the Pacific Northwest. And he started in drifting, and then somehow just car audio picked up a car audio. Started going to the Sky High, the original. It wasn't even Sky High barbecues. It was actually Autorama, way back.
Oh yeah,
way back.
I sponsored those up until it kind of ended. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, well,
Robbie did a barbecue on the
you know what? We'll do a whole story about that if you guys. I have so much detail about that whole process and that whole thing, and I think my perspective on it might be the most in
unbiased.
it and also not sided on it thing in the world. So But
definitely
we'll talk
that.
about that another time. What is
Well,
the thing? Go ahead.
I was telling him about shitting on him, basically how
Yeah, oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
got into that. But yeah, so Hammy just started. I guess it started with a sticker. Really, few people wanted the stickers, and it went from stickers to literally just one shirt was the Shadow shirt. Oh no, before that, I mean, a few different designs. He had but they were just all like one off, just a couple runs here and there, And then, like I said, when I bought in, I put in my investment, and with the investment of the money, we spent it on inventory and traveling. The first year we did like 6 or 8 shows and just went and set up booths. And
What year was that?
2017 is
Okay.
when I bought.
So 17 was when I started getting back into car audio pretty aggressively too.
Yeah, and that's when we did Slam, we did TDH, we did Ruckus, we did the Sundown show. We had the CES showdown at the time, the Sky High barbecues. Yeah, it was like 6, 8, maybe even 10 shows the first year.
Like, were you even home for that year?
It was a lot of traveling, man, but it was fun because it was the first year doing it, and I was doing shit I loved, car audio, and people were buying up the gear, so it was a good time. It still is a good time.
Hell yeah!
And then it's just every year we've just kept adding designs and more stickers and accessories and hats and we just basically have everything except for belts and shoes that you can think of. And yeah, we just trying to expand.
What about like some bamboo
like
and
these
flannels, right? Yeah.
This dude, honestly, we've been talking about doing these style shirts for a while, but just don't even know where to start.
Basketball jerseys. I want basketball. I like basketball
Yeah,
jerseys fit.
we actually have a jersey that we are in design right now, so that'll be coming soon. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got involved in shitting on him, and yeah, we've just been grinding, man. Pushing the Instagram. We hit our 50K a little bit ago, and
hell yeah,
just keep pushing, man. And hopefully one day, the right person and sparks the whole thing, and we sell out everything on our website overnight.
Yeah, all at once. Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one of those like mega influencers to be wearing the shirt in a post or a video, and it's boom, all your inventory's gone.
Yep.
What's the thing you hate most about your industry? What's
the drama?
I think there's that kind of drama in everything, everywhere.
There is, but I guess the drama. I mean, but it's just human nature. Drama mixed with like incompetence. The two together in our industries, it's up there, dude. I mean, incompetence is up there, and it's not a bad thing to be incompetent. It just means you need to learn about the subject more. Like,
yeah, I mean,
so many people
being ignorant, it just means that you have the ability to learn more.
Yeah, people just don't want to take the time to go through learning what a lot of stuff, and they just know right away. Like, they'll put their first or second whatever system in, and it's the best stuff. Everybody else's stuff sucks, and I know everything already. Like you said, it's probably the same attitude in almost every hobby. But yeah, I mean that's the only part that really irks me. I mean, the people are awesome. If you talk to everybody on an individual basis, everybody's pretty much the same type of person. We're family people. We just trying to have a good time, love life. But then you got like one guy over here that doesn't even know this guy over here, and they're talking shit about each other.
Yeah. It's so common. Yeah. People, and then it just seems like just the narrative now is to just dislike people who aren't exactly like you, even though we're all kind of after the same thing in the end, like you said.
In the end, everybody's just like each other, right? I mean, it's like we've
evolved over 100,000 years to be the same.
The smartest guys involved in car audio, right? Let's say you got a guy and he's involved in car audio and he could be a NASA engineer, no problem. But instead he's doing car audio. He's still an idiot because he's doing car audio and he should be a fucking NASA engineer. We could be using his intelligence there to find aliens, right? I don't know. But to some degree, right? And I love car audio and I love so many people and so many people involved in it are super intelligent and fun to hang out with, but we're all just playing around with big dumb speakers, and I mean, I fucking love the shit out of big dumb speakers, and I can't live a day without them, but it's pretty damn silly. So everybody should
Yeah,
just
I mean-
shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like,
You know, there's a time and a place to have grudges. I mean, if you're a competitor and you got a rivalry with somebody, or even if you've actually had beef, then you can
Yeah.
have drama.
or if
and all
you've
that
seen him
stuff. But-
cheating, right? As far as competing is concerned, what's crazy about car audio, and one of the things that really steers me away from it, is that people cheat. And if I was competing, or like if I had a team guy, let's say we have kind of ish Team Gately audio guys. I really hate to see my logo with a team on it. It looks like a fucking bow. I'm not a fan of it. But like if there was one of my guys and he's my dude and I see somebody cheating against him, I am gonna lose my absolute shit, and I'm gonna be a problem in a big negative way for myself and everybody around me. I really, really try super duper hard to kind of avoid that situation, right? That's what freaks me out. I can't believe that somebody would cheat in car audio. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it at World Finals a handful of years ago, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I called the dude out pretty heavy, along with some other people. But anyway, so that's that. So one more good question I have for you. What is the thing you love the most about this industry, Steve?
The people, I think. I mean, obviously.
So
I
what you love the most and what you hate the most is the people.
No, I don't.
Sounds reasonable.
I don't hate the people at all.
No, I'm just
I just hate the drama part. Some people
No.
don't like to cause a lot of drama.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of interesting people. Like there's people like John Nolte, like we've talked about. There's people like Hank Veach, who is the biggest troll, but he's super smart. He builds awesome shit. There's people like you.
No, let's not say he's smart. Let's not stretch it that much.
I know you have a little issue. I don't know what's going on between you two.
Nothing. I just mess with him.
Okay, he is smart. But no, there's just a gamut of people in our community. There's so many different people from all different walks of life. Like most of the people involved in car audio, it's truly our hobby. Most of the people in car audio, it's not their day to day. It's just what we love. So when we go to these shows, you're just surrounded by people who all love the same shit. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a loud system, but it's not what takes me to the shows. I barely even get demos when I go to shows. I'll get one or two, but the majority of the time is hanging out in after shows, after the parking lot parties. Shit, bro.
Yeah, that's
Friday at Slamology, man.
Friday at Slam is the best day.
Oh, dude, that is good time, man. That is a good time. Yeah.
And like I'm hoping to kind of recreate that kind of atmosphere at the showdown this year and going forward. So we got this location now it's at Prim. It's a little bit outside of Vegas, about 25, 30 minutes, but it allows us to have no restrictions on all our demos. And then we pretty much have this entire hotel to ourselves. So the parking lot parties and the after show should be a lot of fun. We're all going to be stuck at this hotel together. It should be a few hundred bass heads, and it should be pretty damn good. So,
yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good. Right on.
Drew,
you got some questions for our man Steve? What you got?
Well, yeah, he answered the one that I was going to ask about how he got involved with it. Let me see. I asked my marketing director to see what questions they might have.
Was that your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you already answered them.
I could show some pictures. We could talk about some pics, I guess.
How did you start? Like, what's it take to be a professional caddy? Like, what's involved in that? It just sounds. I mean, it sounds awesome.
Well, to be a caddy at the club I was at, it's really more about being personable.
Yeah,
you have to be able to. You're out there. It's not like you don't carry clubs at all. It's none of that. You're out there more as less a host and a guide around the golf course. You're giving each player how far it was to the hole, and every hole you're reading their putts, and you're just trying to basically have them play a better round of golf as well as becoming their friend in 4 hours. And the better you do at that, the more money they give you. basically at the
No, I
end.
mean that makes sense.
Uh,
Which makes sense why
but-
being personable is so important. You know, if you suck as a person, they're not going to want to talk to you.
No, it's definitely the hospitality, customer service ish type of job. You kind of got to be a whipping post sometimes, but most of the time, dude, it's like you're out there with a guy or a group of guys who just wants to have fun. Most of them are drinking, and it's a lot of times. Sometimes we have tournaments and stuff, and it's a little more serious, and you're more into it, you know. But
What's an example? What's an example of being the whipping post?
So have you played golf, Bobby? You know,
I mean, a very little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as a caddy, when you're giving people advice and they happen to make a mistake or it doesn't do what you say it's going to do,
It's your fault.
It's your fault. Or if it does exactly what you say it's going to do, but they can't do what you tell them to do, they blame you still. Like, this putt's going to break 1.5 feet right to left, and they pull it to the left a foot and they miss it by 3 feet on the left side. Like, oh, I think broke 5 feet. And you want to just say, no, you suck. You pulled it 5 feet.
Yeah, you learn how to golf, bro.
Man.
And honestly, like, as I got more and more experience and became one of the top caddies or whatever, you don't take shit really from anybody. You're out there, and when somebody makes a comment like that, your response, at least a lot of mine, was like, "Hey, what do you do for a living again?" I was like, "Oh yeah, okay. My job is I'm a caddy. I do this every single day."
Well, and there's a lot of guys.
I promise. You
it was.
There's a lot of guys like like the top level guys probably don't ever get like. I'm sure they get. You say you get Donald Trump and all kind of big people there. They probably never get told that no, you messed it up in their day-to-day life. So they probably enjoy like, damn, this dude's telling me how it is. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
And then other times you get the guys like, oh no, you don't tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Like,
and then they still tip you really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The best. Okay. The best. I don't want to say the best. Like,
what's the biggest tip you ever got?
That was my next question.
God, I'm sorry, man. You got to be on that shit, Captain Ice Eater.
1180 $1,180.
Nice.
Because there was a $180 fee and I got a $1,000 tip. So it was nice.
Damn, he must have really not done well. He's just like, bro, I'm sorry you had to watch that horrible performance.
It was a good day for 4 hours of work.
I bet.
Nice.
So,
how was Donald Trump? Was he cool? Was he weird? Was he like, what was his vibe?
Some stories about him. So this was before he was president,
right? Obviously,
everybody still loved him. I mean, everybody loved the guy. So we end up joining up with this other group, and in the group, the reason we joined up with them is because one of the guys happens to be a big developer in Florida. They know each other, and the guy he's playing with is the ex-Speaker of the House from Florida. So we're playing, whatever, we get along, and I start talking to the Speaker of the House guy a little bit about Donald, just like what's it like to actually have a real relationship with the guy. And he goes, I've met Donald Trump like 5 times, like for the first time 5 times. I met him 5 times, every time was the next time, but for Donald, it was always the first time. He doesn't remember you. Like you're not, unless you are literally
making him money, he doesn't care about you.
Something like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I bet that dude figures out a way to make anybody that gets entered anywhere near him money, whether it's in an awesome way or in a slimy way. But he's good at making money.
But he was super nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was really nice.
I bet
he was fun to caddy for. He talked a lot, just constantly. And him and the developer got in an argument. It was kind of funny about who gets their Kohler, Wisconsin, who gets their Kohler like bathroom faucets and all that stuff cheaper, right? So they're arguing, and then and finally on the 17th hole, the other guy, the developer, he pulls out a picture on his phone of him and Herb Kohler, who's the owner of Kohler. The guy was Herb Kohler's, Herb Kohler's best friend and the best man at his wedding, and he was like, "I guarantee you, Trump, I get better prices than you." And it was like, Trump's like, nope, I don't care. I know I get better prices. They just went on.
That's
Stupid
awesome.
Shit like that.
And they say Trump wasn't a politician, but he's golfing with politicians.
Oh shit! Yeah. No, well, that guy actually ended up joining with us, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Caddying was great, man. And like I said, I still do it occasionally. It's great to be outside.
So, what's the craziest thing that you experienced as a caddy? Tell us that.
Well, I mean, he was talking about some naked guy.
He was
so
talking about
it's gotta
naked
be
people
that.
and drugs and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
What you got?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to name
I
any names,
couldn't
but
tell you
go
how many
ahead, tell the
times-
names.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen lines of cocaine on cooler tops. I mean, that's
That's not even surprising.
you know.
Right? Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Okay, two crazy stories. One was the most money I've ever seen on the golf course. So I caddied for Phil Ivey. I don't know if you guys ever play poker or know who Phil Ivey is. Big poker player. We were playing against another poker player for $20,000 a hole, and this is one of those stressful caddy moments because Phil Ivey doesn't fuck around, and if you don't tell him exactly what to do within like a 5-second span, he like gets stressed out and it will fire you on the spot, which he almost did on the first hole because I didn't know this. And on his first shot, I didn't tell him where to line up fast enough. He backed off. He said, "You're kind of stressing me out. I don't know if you could be my caddy. You need to be quick." And I was like, "All right."
Oh shit,
So
my bad,
literally,
dude.
I didn't
I
even
got you.
care if he was lined up or not. I was just like, "You're fucking good. Smoke it." And we end up murdering these guys for $120,000.
Nice.
And
And he gave you $1,180.
No, he wasn't the big tip, believe it or not.
What
Of course he
fuck?
wasn't. Of course
He
he
should have
wasn't.
gave you 10K, dude. Well, he's a
Yeah.
dick. Fuck Phil
Yeah.
Ivey.
Minimum.
He's a bitch. I'll talk
Yeah.
shit to that guy to his face. He fucked my homeboy
5K
Steve.
a hole to my dude who
15
lined him
grand.
up. I mean, come on,
That's what
dude.
Bitch ass.
Dude,
Oh my
I thought-
god.
I thought after raping for 120, I was like, dude, I'm gonna get paid here. I'm gonna make like 10
12K.
grand.
12K.
He gave-
10%, bro.
He gave me $600, and I was like, you fucking.
I'd have beat him up.
Yeah,
I'd have been
I'd
trying to
have beat-
ruin
I'd
the
have
whole
called his
fucking
ass in
thing.
the
I'd have
parking
ripped that
lot.
guy's ass in the parking lot. I'd have been like, fuck him.
I should have, right? Fuck. But yeah, that was the money story. And the naked guy story, same golf course. I don't really remember what the.
He's the one that gave you the fucking.
No, he wasn't. He
He
wasn't.
gave him the tip.
He
Gave him
me
the tip, and it was the big
Yeah.
one. It just wasn't the one that was $1,180.
It was a bigger tip.
Ayo.
But no, it was weird because everybody else out of the 4 people in the group, they were all friends. They were all fairly normal. I mean, everybody was getting drunk, but this guy was just on a whole nother level. Just on a whole other level. I think it was
Every friend group has that guy.
the 8th hole. He's just taking a piss by the cart path. And one of the other caddies with his group, I remember it was an Asian guy, probably from China. We had a lot of people that didn't speak English that came through there. He came through, and my guy's pissing with his dick in his hand. The guy comes right around the corner, right up to him, and they kind of like stop in shock. And the guy goes, "What's wrong? You never came around the corner before and seen a guy with his dick in his hand?" So that's what he responds to. And I'm like, I look over like, "Oh shit, guy's got his dick out." So whatever. So he doesn't put his
Whatever.
dick out. He ends up leaving it out after he's done pissing for some reason. I'm like, okay,
Dude,
whatever.
This must have been a unit. This
Whatever.
couldn't be your average.
Yeah,
Johnson.
was he like,
It wasn't. I mean, it was just whatever. No, it was. I mean, it was just whatever.
okay?
If it was,
All right.
if that was, I mean, I probably wouldn't have shown it if that was my piece. But, so, anyways, we get on to 13th hole, and this guy is so drunk at the time. Like everybody's still kind of playing, but he can't even finish a fucking hole at this point. And we're on the 13th green, and out of
Hold on.
nowhere, he comes.
Hold on. His dick's out the whole time?
No, I think at this
Oh, okay,
point
he
his
put it
dick's
away,
back
okay.
in his pants. But
Okay.
while we're on the green, he's proceeding to take off all of his clothes by the cart path. Nobody sees this because we're over here 30 yards away. I'm reading putts. We're doing our thing. And then
Not
he
a
just
woman in
starts,
sight, right?
maybe at these fucking multi-million-dollar
Okay, you
homes
guys
that
are all
surround it.
hanging out, and it's all dudes, and this
It's all
guy's
dudes,
stripping
yeah.
naked. Okay,
But yeah,
so
but like I
there's
said,
not
we
like
don't
there's
see
not like
this.
a couple of girls that are like, go ahead and get naked, and like 'cause
No.
that's the only
No.
way
No.
that
This
I'm on
is
that
like
level.
almost a men's club. There's like 5 girl members. So we're putting, and then all of a sudden, dude, just naked ass comes running right through. So yeah, he butt ass naked just started streaking us on the green. So yeah, that's my naked man story.
That sounds perfectly acceptable. That sounds like a regular Tuesday. I don't know. It's fine.
It's
It's
in
Wednesday.
Vegas. Yeah, it's definitely could be a regular Tuesday in Vegas.
It's too much. So, are people in Vegas? This is completely off subject. Oh wait, never mind. Oh wait.
No,
Yeah, send
no.
it. We're
Are
here.
people in Vegas? Have they been talking about the Lake Mead thing?
All the time. I hear
Okay.
it constantly. Yeah, I kind of want to go down there and check it
If
out.
whatever's going on with the Lake Mead thing doesn't involve a bunch of naked people, Drew, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Well, they're naked.
Oh,
but they're
I
dead.
guarantee there's some naked people down on Lake Mead, buddy.
What is the Lake Mead thing? It's down super low, and the whole world's all
it's
fucked
getting
up, and everybody's
the
gonna
lowest it's been since they
die
filled
of
it.
thirst.
I think.
Yeah, it's starting to people. They think they found like 3 or 4 bodies that have surfaced now, and just stuff is starting to surface that people didn't know that was down there.
4 set of human remains found 3 days ago.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, every
They're
few
gonna
days
find
there's a new
Hoffa and
set.
shit in there.
Yeah, they can find all kind of shit. They can find a whole bunch of people with them concrete shoes on.
Dude, there's got to be. I mean, the first 50 years of Vegas, it was ran by the mob. I guarantee there's
Probably still ran by the
many
fucking mob.
bodies in there.
Hey, I'll tell you my fucking like mob guy story from Vegas. It's not that great, but it's funny because I was hammered. And me and my buddy Nick, his name's Nick Williams, he owns a shop called Premier Auto Tint that's in El Dorado Hills, California. But he used to be in Vegas. He had Premier Auto Tint in Las Vegas. And he's a super fun dude. And him and I were in the Barbary Coast. Is that even still there, Steve?
The Barbary Coast is now called Dre's, I think.
Okay, it was the Barbary Coast, and we went in, and I was super hammered, and we hit this blackjack table, and I was like $500 a hand, and I'm like win lose, win lose, win lose, and I'm like I'm drunk, it's hot as hell in here, I'm trying to like win $1,000 and leave, and I win like 2-3 hands in a row, and I'm like, oh, I'm done, $1,500, I'm good. Got to cash out, get out of here. And we see this cashier thing. And so we're making our way, and I'm stumbling around, and we come around this corner, and the cashier thing is right there, but it's like closed. And there's these 2 guys in suits, and they got like a bag, and they're doing some shit in the bag with money, and they're like old and heavy set. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing over here? And I'm like, I'm trying to cash out. And this one's not open, motherfucker. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like, sorry about that. And then like, can I hear him kind of grumbly as I turn the corner, and Nick was like, I thought we was about to get whacked. And I'm like, fuck, I thought so too. And we find the cashier, and we're like, how you doing? It's like, I thought one of the guys over there was gonna whack me. The girl's like, what the fuck? Like, anyway, that was my Barbary Coast. I was drunk, and 2 gangster guys almost murdered me for approaching them while they were doing some weird looking shit with some money in a bag.
You're probably right, dude, because Barbary Coast is an old school property. I mean, yeah, that was definitely
fucking bet. Yeah. No, for real, I almost got whacked.
I mean, I guarantee that the bank teller could have told you a place to get whacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That
So
yeah, I mean, we could talk more about the show if you guys want.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's talk about the show. I'm super excited about it. Prim, I want to take my F-150 out on that fucking off-road course if I can.
There's an off-road course.
So yeah,
they have
Douglas Van will make it.
Yeah, they've got a big like 11-acre AMA. Racing, all kinds of stuff out there, but I actually did talk to them about that to try to get like some sort of side-by-side thing attached with the show, and it's literally like impossible without crazy insurance liabilities and all this stuff. So maybe in the future, if the show grows, could be something we do. But what is kind of cool is the weekend of the showdown is there is an AMA motocross 2-day event at Prim. So while we're at Whiskey Pete's basing our asses off, they're going to be just across the street motocrossing their asses off. So we might have some cool cool intertwining of the 2 groups. It should be pretty neat.
Well, I used to race motocross a little bit and do a little bit of motocross freestyle a long time ago, and then I broke my legs real bad. And
I guess that's something I didn't really touch on either. I grew up riding my whole life. Racing. I didn't do any freestyle, but I raced I raced a Banshee for a couple years, and I've had multiple dirt bikes up until recently. When I sold my last bike like 2.5, 3 years ago or so, I ended up tearing my PCL and MCL on my left knee on the literally the worst, the most mild wreck I've ever had in my entire life. Injured me the most. Like I've smashed off of 20, 30-foot gaps, everything. I pretty much just walk away from it all. But this one, I was going to hop a curb, and the bike was still not, it wasn't warm. I didn't realize it wasn't ready to
Give it a blip
and hit the wheelie. So coming up to a curb, I hit the throttle and the bike bogs instead of pops, and I'm going like 20 miles an hour. I just hit the curb, and it like flings me sideways like this, and it's like freshly poured sidewalk, and I put my foot down just instinctively, and my foot just stuck as my body momentum was still going, and it just twisted, and I could hear it inside the pops. It's like pop, 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 and I was like, it didn't hurt at the time, but I knew, I was like, it's fucked. So I was with my buddy, picked the bike up. I was like, I know we just started, but my knee, I'm 99% sure it's fucked, and while I could still ride, we need to ride back. So we rode back home, and dude, within half an hour, the thing was like a basketball. It was huge. And sold the bike, and I am going to get back into it again, but I think I'm going to get something that isn't require me to use my legs as much for support when I'm going around corners and stuff. Maybe a side-by-side.
Well, you were what were you on when you did that?
I was on a motorcycle, just a little 160.
You were talking about a Banshee, and and you stomped your foot down on a Banshee,
No.
and you run over yourself, and
No, the Banshee was years ago. That's gone. I went from the Banshee to dirt bikes for quite a while. Yeah, but yeah, that's the showdown. I'll get back to the showdown, but yeah, that's going to have the races next to it, which is going to be hella cool. And like I said earlier, the location is so rad, dude. We've got like this mountain backdrop that is right against the parking lot. Like once you get out of the lot, it just goes to a mountain. So we've got all this space to just get crazy and get the hotel overnight all to ourselves. Not overnight, really, the whole weekend. So it should be great, yeah. And cars coming from everywhere, and I was just trying to get as many people from around the country to come, so it becomes our West Coast version of Slam, if you will, or like a Basehead Island getaway type
well,
thing.
the CES showdown was a huge event. The years that I attended, I had a good time out there. So that's pretty exciting. That's the first time I met Drew and Steve Duncan was out there.
That was a heck of a trip, man. That was a long drive in a walled vehicle.
It was the first time I met them too. Yeah, and heard either of those cars. Did he? You guys had the van at that point, or was it?
No, we drove Steven's white truck.
Yeah,
that's right. I think the van might not even have been Steven's.
No, Steve's truck was on a trailer, I thought.
Not the first year, not 2017.
2017. It was 2018 when I met you guys.
Okay, so 18 would have been the van, and
the van and the trailer.
18 was the van. I don't think it was the van.
No, 18 was the truck. 18, yeah, he towed the truck with his other truck.
Maybe it was 19 was the van and the truck, maybe.
Yeah,
but it was CES every year, and now it's SEMA.
Yeah,
and the reason why it's at SEMA is partially something you guys are involved with. Is I was able to get those guys to agree to let us to have a mobile audio experience to basically show the people at SEMA what we do on a crazy level. So given that I'm able to get these cars here, like Stephen Duncan's van and Nathan's DD tank and Sky High van and all these big builds in one place at one time, I had to move my show to the same weekend because most of these people aren't going to make the trip twice. So while I have them here in Vegas for SEMA, that's entails why the showdown moved.
I mean, it makes sense. And then they didn't have CES in 2020, did they?
No.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why.
Well, we had CES 2020, but we didn't have 21.
That's what it was. Yeah, because
2020 was when a bunch of people got fucking COVID.
I saw a lot. A couple people commenting, said, "Oh, bring back CES." Blah blah. I'm like, it only didn't happen 1 year because of COVID, right? It was just one. There's only 1 year gap that it didn't happen.
Right. And I mean, the biggest reason we moved it is because car audio at CES is kind of non-existent. It's died. It's not all the big dogs have pulled out. Kicker's not going anymore. Fosgate's not there. Nobody's there. They've all moved to CES or SEMA. So
Yeah.
that's why the show's at SEMA now. I know we've had some complaints, but it'll grow. I know people will eventually come around to just whatever. It's November. It's honestly a way better time of year to be in
Yeah,
Vegas.
it's
than
not
in
as
January.
cold, man. It was like a
No.
fucking freezing ass one of them
Mhm.
years. I remember I was.
Oh yeah, I mean it was super great whenever we were there.
Yeah. I mean, January, we got lucky. Like the last few years, it happened to be 60 during the day, sunny. But literally, like 2 days after the show or a day before, it was raining and 40. So, yeah, the weather's better in November. The cars are going to be better because of the SEMA experience. So, just all in all, it'll be a better show. The location.
Yeah.
I really want it to become like the Burning Man style show or whatever. I want it to be a destination show that all the base heads are looking forward to every year. That's literally like we are taking over this hotel casino. It's going to be just us. There's nobody out there. It's just these two casinos that happen to be at State Line that truckers happen to stop. I don't even know how the hell they stay in business. They must just be tax write-offs or something. So it's
Might
going to
be.
be a lot of fun. It'll be
No,
very
I'm
intimate.
definitely excited about it.
Right
yeah.
on. Well,
Yeah,
That's me, man.
Where is it? What's the name of the hotel?
It's Whiskey Pete's in Prim Valley. They're all right next to each other. Let's
See how far this is. Directions, home.
I could show some of these.
You notice the distance when Google takes a minute. Oh,
would be-
it's further for you, isn't it, Drew?
No, it's
It's further for Drew.
yeah, it's further. It's 1,647 miles one way.
Yeah, fun.
Well,
We're
I mean,
actually gonna
Unless
stay
Duncan
there.
somehow convinces me to tow his van again, I'm
What the
flying.
fuck is that?
okay.
That's cool.
This is the first build in the Explorer. This is basically the build that put me on the map, I guess you say, or people that started paying attention to what I was doing in essence.
Okay.
So this is the shell. And then I had a lot of help with this thing. Don't get me wrong. So this portion was built by myself, a guy named Mike Martinez, and a bunch of people from Team Base Drop. But then kind of after this point, it was just me and my buddy Trevor and my buddy Frank. And let's see, that was the shell. God, why are these pictures not coming up here? Guess they don't want to. Okay. Well, here's the 18 sheets of birch that I bought to build the thing, which is probably worth, I don't know, $1,800 now. And I think
Probably
back in the day, they
more
were like,
if you're paying, Joe Blow pricing on things. So
yeah. They were
It's
what,
a mortgage.
$32 a sheet back then. Nothing. Let's see. Stack fab the back wall. Action and basically turn to this.
Damn.
Which turn to that. And I don't know why none of these pictures are loading. Okay, so this is first turn on. It's the first number I did, and it was on like 6,000 watts or some shit. That's my buddy Trevor, first port wall we built. That's what I ran it off of, was just caps at the beginning, building my own RCAs. Port wall, first hair trick. This is that show that I did at 59. Do you guys recognize who that is? This is a long time ago.
I
Probably
don't.
can't even tell. That's Marissa.
What?
That's Marissa O'Brien. This is
Really?
in 2014 or 15. Yeah. This is in one of the first Baseheads meets. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, empty. That was Marissa, yeah. First time I met her and Thomas. Thomas was actually part of the team way back then.
Old Thomas. I like him. That's a good dude.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
He's always been
I
super nice
love
to
the
me.
way that they look like their brother and sister so much.
I never heard
I'm
anybody say that.
like, man, I'm like,
There's
you guys
a YouTuber.
so hot that you guys look like brother and sister.
There's
Oh,
a YouTuber him and his girlfriend go to a bunch of shows, and they look like they are 1,000% related. It's not even kind of funny because it is so close.
God.
I'll send you pictures later. It's like if I told you they were brother and sister, you'd be like, okay. Except
No,
I believe it.
I don't know, man. Thomas and Marissa, they totally look like they could be brother and sister 100%.
Oh, man, you'll see.
I don't
You'll
know.
see. I'll send it.
I don't think I guess I've never felt that way. But anyways. Yeah, so that was the Explorer. It's gutted now, obviously, and
Well, no, it's not
completely-
gutted now. It's got that whole
Well,
steel cage in that thing.
It's all steel now. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where those pictures
Hashtag
are.
extreme.
They're on my Facebook here somewhere.
Has to do a
But,
70 first rip, or needs to just be taken out.
If it honestly, that's kind of my goal is it to do a 70 on that Salt 8K with these these kicker S subs, but it might be a little lofty to think that, but I don't know, dude. Because
If the whole cabin is built solid, if it's all the way extreme vehicle, I think you got it.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I'm seeing these guys do a 70 on like 500 watts and shit. So I don't see why I wouldn't be able to also do that.
I think so too.
But yeah, if you want to find out, come to the showdown. That's how we're gonna find out. 'Cause that'll be the first time it's gonna be in public, pretty much. Well, hopefully, as long as I get it done.
We should have the Green Monster back by then as well. Like, I mean, back playing. Like, I have it. It's just, it's a couple miles away at a friend of mine's house. He's helping me with some wild stuff. We're doing some electromagnets on the back doors. The back seats should be a solid 170. It'll be all the way extreme, and you'll be in the port and still have cushy, foamy factory back seats of the Green Monster. And then the front seats, it'll be always windows down because I don't want to rip the firewall or break the doors. So I will never seal it up. That's my plan. So
Well, I heard Corey Otis's van at Scraping the Coast this year, and he has an actual seat in it turned sideways, and it was fantastic. I loved every second of it.
nice.
I'm not getting an extreme vehicle, number one. I got in his because there was a seat. I was like, all right, I'll get in. And man, that thing was impressive. That thing played lows, highs. It sounded great. And my butt was on a seat, wasn't sitting on the floor. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared of vehicles that have nothing but like metal or cement or fiberglass floor.
Stuff like,
I don't know, man. If it's got like a bench, but I don't want. I don't even want like a sub basket with a circle mounted to be like sit on that.
Steven.
Like, oh, fuck yourself.
Damien's bench is about the limit. That's about as far as I'll get in anymore.
Yeah, Steve's truck. I put like one knee on that floor and stand at the doorway. And
you're like, I got the idea. You're like, oh no, I got it. Got the idea.
Yep.
I'll stay out of it.
The guy's climbing over the hump in Chris Lee's truck. I'm like, dude,
you're gonna die.
They're like,
you're
what do you
die.
think? I'm like, dude, somebody's gonna die. Somebody's gonna die doing this shit. Eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the same conversation we had when we talked about motocross freestyle 25 years ago. When we started doing all that wild shit, and eventually it was like somebody's gonna die, and it was like the late 2000s, and like one guy died, and it was like 2 years later another guy died, and then now it's just a thing that happens. Some of these dudes, and it's like, damn. Now car audio, all of a sudden we have these lithium batteries, and these.
But dude, like in motocross, those guys are putting their own lives at risk. I guess you are as well as a demo, but do you go into a demo thinking you can lose your life?
No,
if you get into an extreme vehicle over the hump, then you are accepting that you may lose your life. Yes,
and I don't think those guys quite understand it. I mean, when a couple of the guys were climbing over the hump and Chris Lee's, and I'm like looking at Chris, and I'm like, hey man, he can fucking die. He's like, Chris is like, and I'm like, dude, and the kid's like diving out. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Oh,
I don't know how loud Chris Lee's van is or was it whenever that was happening, but I saw Dan Current climb over Carlos's console in Vegas. I was like, nobody. I just saw that thing do an 80. No, sir.
Dan, you're too fat to get out of there that fast. That
kid right. You can't get out quick, homie.
Dive out of Chris's clothes. He's approaching a 180. I think he might have already touched it, but like I know Carlos is like, I mean, he was like rings, bro. Carlos is like, but dude, I don't know, man. I won't do it. I will not climb over a hump. The first time I saw anybody do that, it was Brandon Scobie at Surf 18. End of the day, climbed over the hump in Jeremy Boyd's truck, and that thing was like a 78. And I was like, please don't do that, dude. I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. And Jeremy was like, dude, people do it, pretty regularly. And I'm like, all right, if you say that it's a thing, then, just make sure that if he's looking like shit that and he's like, yeah. And he was all gentle with it and going until Brandon was like, and then when he lost the thumbs up, he shut it down and then he did it again. And he but Brandon was like, I shouldn't have done that.
No,
I don't feel good.
Not.
My head hurts. I feel like I got a concussion. I feel like I bumped my head. I was like, damn, dude, that's rough. And then, a couple of years later, Jeremy was telling me he had, like, when he had redid the setup and he was doing 180s, that he had a guy in there, like, sitting there thumbs up, like, I'm good. And blood's just pouring out of his nostrils. And he's like, oh my God. It's like he's like, I'll never lock anybody in it again. I'll never bolt it closed again. I'm like, I'll never.
Bro, you should have never bolted it closed to begin with.
Yeah, I'll never bolt anybody closed in anything. No, way. I
saw
a watermelon get shredded in a video in like the early 2000s, and I was like, dude, you could die in that thing. And it's a car that's meant to have people in it. And if you were in it, you could die in it. I was no.
Like, dude, I feel like the people who get into like the extreme vehicles for sure, and then over the console, then if you're willing to get bolted in, bro, if you just tell us you want to die, bro, let us get you some help. You need some therapy, homie.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, the Explorer is going to hopefully have the capability to do a number like that, but I'm pretty much never going to do it.
Not with a person in it, right? I mean, I'll tell you what. If I build a vehicle that can do 180s, I'm gonna be like, boom, boom, boom. I'll put the meter in and be like, 180, bitch. I might do it between demos. I mean, like, it was super cool that Clippo. It was super cool that Clippo came over with that 180 on the like written on the glass and shit, and at Slam. You know what I mean? It was like, dude, that is super cool, man. That is
because usually with you have an extreme car like that or extreme hump and you have the door open, you lose pressure. So I wonder what that thing will do if it was sealed up.
Well, that's
what I mean. I said Jeremy Boyd, he had that guy bolted in. That thing had bolts on the doors to close it, and he was like, "I'm never bolting anybody in again." I'm like, dude, why would you ever do? Like, I mean, even if like you're like, oh, they signed the death waiver, they're fine, and I'm not going to get sued or anything. I would still be like, I can't believe I turned that volume up until that guy died. That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize like that how hard that'd be to live with. Like that's. But so you're talking about Kyle's van not having the door on. I mean, with the Munson's working on it, that's how it's that's how it was tuned to be loudest. So it would probably lose if they put a door on currently because of how Chris.
Well, I think they meant it to get numbers because it did like a 180. So
yeah, well, I'm saying like it was designed for Chris worked on it to be loud like that. I mean, I'm sure he could easily put the door on and make it loud again.
Oh yeah, dude, that thing was dragging me in the port. Not that I'm a big person, but I'm little and I'm thick, and like I've seen a few builds where there was a 110-pound like little tiny chick wearing a baggy outfit getting like thrashed around in the port. But I'm like holding on for dear life. That thing was going to drag me all the way into that box. And those subs would have cooked me, man. They were so hot. That was the craziest shit, man.
I haven't gotten a demo of Clippo for years. And it's still, every time I see it, it's usually already blown a couple subs or something's gone on to where I can't get a demo of it.
It still played and still played loud. But that Sunday morning when Kyle came over, he was like,
it's not the same.
We can't.
It's still
we can't damage these amps. And I'm like, I get it. You got 6 $4,400 amplifiers, and I wouldn't want to blow one of them up either. That would be a heartbreaker. So,
I guess that's why they ended up switching out to cheaper amps. That way, if they did blow up, they wouldn't feel as bad.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing a stack of 6 12Ks though. I was like,
6 amps. That one.
Yeah. Now I got one over here. Actually, if you see the cardboard box sticking up over the top of the speaker box behind me,
that's a Salt 12.
That's a Salt 12. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well,
They're huge.
Yeah, the biggest amps I'm going to run are 7500s. Those are the right size.
Dude, the Salt AK I have is humongous. I was surprised how big it was.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
as
12
soon,
volts, so.
as soon as you get to those big amps, like the 12, Assault 12, DC 20K, they all just blow up. Too much high rail voltage, and people want to wire them in the dirt.
if they don't wire them in the dirt, man, they run pretty damn good. If you're not an idiot, they run great.
But we're idiots. We talked
Yeah,
about
we
this an
already
hour ago.
Established this, about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, we had this conversation. We're idiots.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man. All
So,
right,
yeah,
fellas, I think it's time.
Yes, sir.
I think so too, unless there's anything else that I didn't tell you about myself. There's actually quite a bit. But...
Well, how big is it?
Yeah, what's
Give us-
up, bro?
Give us one of these.
Pull it out.
That's a life size of it? Right on, Steve. We're so
Oh,
proud
wait,
of
hold
you,
on. He's not
bro.
done. He's driving a second.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let me stack. There we go. That's better.
So anyway, all right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Right on.
All right, boys.
I'm ready,
guys.
fellas.
Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you guys next week.
I will have all the SQ knowledge next week.
All of it.
All of it.
Oh yeah, SQ.
Or I will have a seizure mid-class Saturday, and that's going to be it.
Oh, one or the other.
I've been there. I've had a couple conversations with Jacob Fuller, and I was like, "Oh, what?"
Yep.
I'm
That's how it
getting
was with
smarter,
Nathan
and I
Munson.
can't do that fast.
I think it was the second CES that we came to. We flew in a day early, and Nathan let us stay in their penthouse with him at the fancy hotel. And we were just staying up late, just talking on the couch. And we were about 30 minutes in. And I was like, okay, what?
It's like
You said
ever seen the
quantum
movie,
something, and my brain just turned off.
you ever seen the movie Johnny Mnemonic?
Nope.
It's an old Keanu Reeves movie, and he's like a transporter of data, and like they overload him with data. So like he puts this thing in his mouth and he hooks up and he like squeezes his head and they pump the data in real fast and he's like, oh, he's like all that's what it's like.
That's how you feel.
Yeah,
John
that's
Nolte
what it's
does
like
that
trying to have
to
a
me.
conversation with Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob does that. John Nolte does that to me. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. I
All right,
fucking love
boys.
you guys. Have a great night. Let's talk soon. Everybody else, we'll see you guys at Surf City and the Showdown and SEMA. all
Sundance
that shit.
show. All kinds of
And
stuff going on.
I think there's going to be a couple of YouTubers at Kicker Monday for some reason. From what I was told, there's going to be other people there, so I'm sure I'll see some of y'all there. Then
Right on.
we're gonna have to we're gonna have to mud wrestle in the parking lot.
Oh, fun. Record that.
Book
for
my
us.
flights, honey.
Yeah, we're on the way.
Shit, I'll drive
All right,
16
guys.
hours. I'll be there today. All right, boys. Have a good one.
Y'all have a good one.
Later.
Later.